Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 7 of Paranormal Axetvities with your host, Ben Axe. I try not to make these episodes, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't have to listen to them in order. However, this time you do, much like 2 and 3. Same idea here. So on episode 6, I had the pleasure of having Keith Linder on the show, and his story is so complex it requires a part 2, basically. So we're going to go ahead and pick up right where we left off on episode 6. So please, if you have not listened to episode 6 yet, go back, check it out. It's an amazing story that Keith is telling me, and this part 2 of the interview, episode 7, is only going to get crazier. So please stop right now, go back, listen to 6, and then come back for 7. It's going to be crazy. Alrighty, sir, go ahead and pick up where you left off.
I was coming down the stairs January 2nd. I remember that day because right after New Year's. And I was coming downstairs for a glass of water. And I slipped on the second landing. About 11 steps I slipped on.
Oh, Jesus.
And I had a bad fall. Tore my right patella tendon. Tore bad. So I was laid up. I had to have surgery to repair my knee. Therefore, I was restricted to home. It was a 6-week recuperation. Therefore, I couldn't work. I was semi-bedridden. Tina would make me breakfast and lay everything out for me to get upstairs. No way I'm going downstairs with just me in the home because of my knee. And I'm on pain meds watching TV all day. Well, as I'm home by myself all day, keep in mind, me and Tina are rarely home during the day. We were, prior to this, we're working like everybody else. We come home after 5 or 6 p.m.
Right.
But now I'm having the benefit of being home 24/7. And now I'm hearing noises while I'm sleeping or reading a book or watching TV, noises coming from the other room. Now, I want you to imagine you're upstairs, semi-sleep or channel surfing, and you're in a 2-story home, just you in the home. Tina's at work. She's texting you, saying, hey, how you doing, whatever. And you're hearing kitchen cabinet doors opening and closing downstairs.
Yeah, I would not like that.
You just woke up from a nap, sort of groggy, and you hear rummaging downstairs. And you call out to your roommate, hey, Tina, is that you? Did you come home early? Did you forget something? And no answer, right? And the noise doesn't stop. You find your crutches, you crawl toward the front door, you get to the bedroom door, you get to the landing, you call out over the banister, hey, anybody home, Tina? Is that you? And nobody replies, and at the same, you just hear something rummaging through your house.
Yeah, screw that
Now,
noise.
I'm in the cast to my hip, and I can't move, and it's an unsettling feeling.
I can imagine.
And this is February, March of 2014. Then I'm sleeping now, and I'm relating this to Tina when she gets home because I got to tell, hey, it sounds like somebody's in the house when you're not here. And Tina's like, really? What? I'm like, yeah, it's weird. And then I'm telling her, hey, when I'm sleeping, it's tapping on the headboard. Something is tapping me on the headboard. It's scratching. I'm sleeping in my bed, and it's scratching. And Tina's like, really? What? But we don't make nothing of it because we can't. This we didn't experience in 2012. This is new.
Right.
And we had a whole year of no activity. We're trying not to bring it back by worrying too much. We're like, oh, man, is it happening again? So we're sort of disavowing our own common sense. To where one night, late March, early April, we're both asleep, Sunday night, and we're both asleep, and we hear a loud crash come out the hallway, like thunderous crash, like boom. And I'm jumping out of my bed, and Tina's doing the same thing, and I knew they were back. I knew before I walked out of my bedroom, they're back. They're back, okay? And I remember when I got out to the hallway, I said, they're back. I just need to see what this means. What was that noise? And to confirm they're back.
Right.
And the armoire, it was a huge wooden armoire that me and Tina moved into the house. Took 3 men. I'm 6'5", 250 pounds. Took 3 men my size just to carry it upstairs.
Jesus.
I told Tina, we'll move this armoire in, but I'd be damned if I'm moving it out.
That's part of the house.
This thing will become a permanent part of this house because this thing was so heavy. We had this winding staircase. This thing stood my height. It's big. It's bulky. You can't take it apart. It's one piece. And it was just hell to move it to the house, let alone to the second floor. But me and 2 other guys did it, and I remember when we sat it down. Like, see, when we sit it down, it's staying here. We're not, because these guys don't live here. I do.
All right.
Well, I'm not staying here. And I remember the long conversations we had. Well, this armoire is now resting on the other side of the hallway, and it's got a big gash in the wall of the house. And you and I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And Tina looked at it, I looked at it, and Tina just busted in tears. She just busted in tears.
No. That's crazy.
Because she knew, like I knew, they're back, and it's game on all over again.
Right. I could just imagine that drop in your stomach when you had that realization of they're back. That's crazy.
Yeah, because from that day on, and I tell people, and this is what parapsychologists and researchers should be studying, from that day on, which was, I want to say late March, early April, we had activity every day for 8 months, give or take, for 2014. The gloves had come off.
That just sounds exhausting, like mentally exhausting to deal with that every day. I couldn't even imagine.
I'm talking about, it taps on your brain, your psyche, your emotional. You're in a vice and you don't even know it. You're in a pressure cooker, you don't even know it. And now the bangs are louder. The objects being thrown are bigger. Oh, that armoire we set upright again? Yeah, you got to sit it up. You can't leave it leaning, right? It's tossed again. Nothing. You're home, not home, sleep, whatever. We don't care. There's no rhyme or reason as to why they're doing it, except for the fact that it takes a toll on you. I'm calling churches and same people that we called a year before, calling websites. Everybody is on deck now, And it's just one activity after the other, one phenomena after the other of things happening. And I remember the weekend, I think it was a week, if not 2, after the armoire got thrown, was the weekend I referred to in my first book called The Katy Perry Weekend.
Oh, there you go.
And I think it was a Thursday or Friday. It was the beginning of the weekend. That I know. And this is how this should speak to the level of intent or intelligence of a spirit like this. Is Tina was downstairs, I was in my office, and all of a sudden the TV in the master bedroom comes on, and it's blasting music. I mean, blasting music. And it's first time it blasts music, I wasn't really paying attention to the song. I just was paying attention to the loud music. I come out of my office and go into the master bedroom, and the TV, I'm thinking Tina's there or she's something. Okay, Tina, what are you doing? Why are you blasting music so loud? And Tina's not in the room. The TV is on. Well, it's not on. It's showing a black picture, and it's blasting music from it. And it's channel 666.
Oh, that's rough.
I tell Tina to come here because I want Tina to witness this. I was like, the song. And then I'm like, okay. this is Katy Perry's song. I'm not really a Katy Perry fan, but I know the song is a hit right now. It's what's going on the airwaves right now. I get it.
Which song
but
was it?
I'm really not paying attention to the lyrics or the song in particular. I know it's Katy Perry, and I know it's a new hit or whatever. Once you got with Kanye West or whatever. So I get the remote and I turn the TV off. And I'm like, man, Tina, look at the TV. Like, they're tripping again. We know it's spirit related, right? Okay, they're tripping again. But we've seen TVs change by themselves. We've never seen a TV turn on blasting music. But I turn it off. I go back to my office. Tina goes back downstairs. 3 minutes later, music comes on again. Blasting. Katy Perry again. Katy Perry. And I run. Tina runs upstairs. TV's on. I'm like, okay, what the hell? And this time I'm like, well, they're playing with us. They're laughing at us. I turn the TV off and I unplug it. Right? I unplug it.
Okay.
But then I'm like, okay, well, that's the same Katy Perry song. You know? Same 10 minutes later. It's kind of weird. Same song playing over and over. I know how music channels work on television because I have Xfinity and music comes through, but it's like a radio, right? You see, why am I hearing the same song over and over?
Absolutely.
But oh well, I unplugged it now. You know, and I think I even did a spiking of the end zone mentally or in front of Tina of, do something now, Ghost. Do something now. You know, which was stupid to do.
Well, I get it. I mean, you have to. It's like kind of like a game at this point. It sounds like it's like I have to get the upper hand here. It's just, it's just like a back and forth.
Yeah, it's good because I said specifically, balls in your court now. Do something. I plugged it. Yeah, not knowing that over centuries, Portuguese, well not centuries, but over years, Portuguese have been turning on TVs unplugged for years.
Right, since the beginning.
So I go back into my office, and Tina goes back downstairs, and I'm like, okay, all right. 5 minutes later, boom, Katy Perry song again. It's blasting, and I'm like, whoa! And now I know. I'm like, wait a minute, are you telling me the spirit plugged my TV back into the socket and turned it back on? Because that's a bold thing to do. I don't know how ghosts work, but I know how they don't work. That's a manual thing. That's interesting.
That's fair.
So I came back. I walked back into the room expecting to see my cord plugged into the wall. No, Keith. No. Me and Tina walked back into the room. The cord is where you left on the floor. The TV is on channel 666, and it's playing the same Katy Perry song. We're now 15 minutes in.
Wow.
That song is not that long. I looked it up. It's not that long. But I looked at Tina. I said, wait a minute. The TV is playing, but it's unplugged. Where's the song coming from? And the song is playing the same verse over and over. It just dawned on me. And this verse is, the name of the song is Katy Perry's hit with Kanye called The Dark Horse. That's the name of the song.
Oh, I know Dark Horse. I'm familiar with Dark Horse.
And the lyrics that are playing over and over to me and Tina, the one we keep walking into the room on is the part of the verse where it asks, or I guess rhetorically in the song, are you ready for the perfect storm? Are you ready for the perfect storm? Because once you're mine, there is no turning back. And that's playing repeatedly over and over each time we walk into the room.
That's terrifying.
And I looked at her because I had to go to Google and look up the lyrics to the song and read it through and through. And I'm like, and I'm reading that verse because I'm coming at you like a dark, and it's because I'm coming at you like a dark horse. I'm coming at you like a dark horse. And once I got you, there is no turning back. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's related. And that was a Thursday night, I believe, because that was Friday and Saturday night. More objects got thrown, larger objects got thrown. Doors got ripped off their hinges. Light fixtures exploded.
Jesus.
The wiring behind the light field. I'm talking about the wiring that's behind the ceiling of your house, of your light bulb, were yanked out, down. They're dangling. Chairs are scooted around. Loud booming sounds, like a sonic boom. And this is all that weekend. Now, it was so much activity Sunday. I'm talking about Sunday, 2 days after the Katy Perry incident, that we got a paranormal team in. Jennifer Noble Paranormal team. We were dialing 911 like crazy, a paranormal team. Like, you got to get our house exploding. It's one thing after the other. And they came, and they conducted an 11-hour investigation while they were there. And they saw all the destruction. We didn't touch anything. The destruction, the glass, the breakage, the door dangling off the hinges, the armoire. Tina's frantic, distraught, so am I. I remember when the paranormal team walked into the house, all their equipment died. Every electronic device, cell phone equipment they had died. They had to spend an hour, maybe 2 hours re-energizing, recharging all their equipment because everything died.
Oh, wow.
And Tina had not left the house that day, did not even know, but Jennifer, the leader of the team, said, "Your house is humming. You need to step outside your house, Mr. Linder. Your house is actually humming. The walls are humming." And we heard that when she made us step outside and walk back in. And later that night when they finally left, she said, they did a few things. They found a few things interesting. They documented a few things. She did a cleansing. She did a Native American chant, did a few cleansings, room to room. And she said, "Call us if anything happens after this." And she said, "These things, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. These things don't go relatively quick and easy, but we're here for you. So call us when anything else happens."
That makes sense.
Me and Tina are exhausted. We're spent. We're done. And we go to bed. We go to bed early. And 1:34 a.m. Monday morning, Sunday night, that same night, 1:34 a.m., the fire alarm goes off in our house. We have those type of fire alarms where when one goes off, they all go off.
Okay, they're all connected.
Yeah. And we pieced the door back together so we could have some sort of door in front of us while we sleep so objects won't be thrown while we're sleeping. And the door was closed. And when a fire alarm goes off, keep in mind, we've not experienced fire yet. This fire is new. You don't have to have a poltergeist in your house to know fire alarms going off is not a good thing. Especially at night when you're sleeping. Oh, my God, all kind of ideas run through your head. Did you leave something on? Coffee pot? Did you leave anything on? Oh, my God, where's the fire? It's pitch black. I jump out of bed, open up my double door, and there on the floor outside our bedroom door is a book. I don't know what type of book it is yet, but it's on fire. There are pages all over it, pages dancing all over the book. Soot ash are going everywhere. The alarms are wailing. Dee, 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 dee. And the book is on fire. I take my left foot and I close the book to douse the fire. I didn't even put the book up. I just closed it. As soon as I closed it, I realized this is the Bible that went missing. This is the Bible that went missing in 2012. And Tina's overlooking me. She's like standing next to me. And I'm like, I know this book. This is the Bible that went missing. I picked the book up to inspect it. And I feel a bulge. I was like, the book has a bulge in it. There's something in the book. Now, when I set this book down on my table a year and a half ago, there was nothing in the book. So I know specifically there should not be nothing in the book. There's something in the book. So I open up the book and ash and all the pages are incinerated. You see the photos. And there's a burnt cross in the book, a burnt cross. I had bought this cross off of Amazon from Jerusalem as a means of protection. It comes from Jerusalem, I think something in reference to the tree of Jericho. It was supposed to be used, or we put it above our bed, our headboard. And that's where it was before we went to bed.
Okay.
Was above our headboard. Well, it's not above our headboard anymore, obviously.
Right.
It's in the Bible. And it's burnt as well. And I looked at Tina, and I'm holding the burnt cross in my hand, and she recognizes like I do. And now we got a burnt Bible. Remember, the Bible's been gone for over a year and a half. It's come back. Spirit, it finally brought an object that it stole. But it brought it back on fire.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of the Bible burning campaign. That was also the conclusion, what I call the Katy Perry weekend, because that entire weekend, that was the last major event of that weekend. But I'm always haunted when I reread or relive that moment of when the spirits were saying the beginning of the weekend of, are you ready for the perfect storm? Are you ready for the perfect storm? And the poltergeist in our house, they did a lot of the, I don't know if you ever get to reading my first book and my second book, you're going to realize, and I call attention to it several times, they did a lot of things in sets of 3.
Okay, and I've heard that that's a popular thing for like demons and poltergeist. It's just like a 3 count of whatever they're doing. And I heard, you can probably verify this if it's true or not, but I've heard it's to mock the Holy Trinity of Jesus or something along those lines.
Well, from a Christian, yeah, but the word 3 transcends multi-denomination, multi-spiritual beliefs, systems. Christianity actually borrowed and incorporated the power of 3. But you're right. A poltergeist typically is mimicking or riding piggyback off your internal belief system. It could be Christianity, it could be Islam, it could be Judaism, it could be agnostic. They don't care.
I gotcha.
Interesting about the number 3 is, and this goes all the way back to before, during the Egyptians, Old Testament, whatever. It's just 3 is just, I can't go into detail now because I have my notes in front of me, but in our house, sets of 3 happen all the time. You know, it was the 3 Bibles that caught fire. It was a multitude of things happening around 3. The 3 bangs, you know, you hear boom, 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 and they came in sets of 3. Just a multitude of things, the 3 holes in the walls, the 3 taps on the headboard, the 3 spirits in the home, countless things that's centered around 3. Not all, but a majority was around 3. And after that Bible, meaning the first Bible caught fire, the other 2 would burn within a 3 weeks time frame. The other 2 Bibles came a week or so afterwards. And it was just always interesting of the manner in which they were found, or they would go missing periodically or missing momentarily, briefly, but come back in the condition as you saw in the photos. And, it just riddles the mind. Your brain can't get used to that level of destruction, of object manipulation. And now we're not even knee deep in the phenomena, because now I'm being advised to capture the phenomena on film or video, capture it on video.
And who told you to do that?
What's that?
Who told you to capture the events on video?
Well, and this is where my pet peeve with the paranormal community is, because now when I call, or now during this time frame, when I'm calling paranormal teams, they're asking me and Tina, hey, what's happening? Bibles are catching fire. They don't believe me.
I gotcha.
They are like taking you through the rigmarole of Q&A, and it's like it's almost too good to be true from their point of view, but it's not on our point of view because we're living it.
Right.
And some of the weirdest questions I've got asked by priests and paranormal investigators is, after I told them, hey, a chair just flew across my room or a Bible caught fire, is, hey, can you get that on video?
Yeah, makes sense, I guess.
And I'm like, why would I want to?
Right.
I'm a neophyte, right? If I call my doctor and say I got a pain in my appendix, hey, you want to operate on yourself? Can you show me that? Can you do your own incision? Why would you even want me to do that? I'm not the researcher.
That's a good point. Absolutely.
I'm calling you. You're more than welcome to come here and live with us and get it on video yourself. But why would I want to? And I never understood that question or that ask of us from I'm talking about well-known paranormal investigators throughout the world, throughout the United States. And we would have these back and forth via email, via group chat of, they're not going to get involved until they can see what we're reporting on video. And I'm like,
just seems
being
dangerous.
stupid and being frustrated, I'll try. But every time I try, the activity got worse.
Oh, yeah.
Put us more in danger, which you, the investigator, should not want to do. You know, what you should want to do is, hey, hold your horses. We'll be right there. Don't do anything, you know, it's like they just tell you on TV. Do not try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. These are done by professionals. But they weren't doing that. They were to try and do what they do. And we would get an object thrown, you know. Sometimes they're sharp objects or a light fixture blows up, camera goes flying, and you're ratcheting up the activity, and these people are 2,000, 3,000 miles away.
Yeah. That's pretty scary. I feel like it's kind of irresponsible on their end at that point because, I mean, they're telling you to do this, but it's causing even more issues.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't really, and we wanting help, wanted to be taken seriously. We tried. I tried, Tina tried, but we're not going to be successful. And then when we're not successful, we're like, hey, we tried what you told us to do, and this. Now we're okay. Well, you guys, yeah, call somebody else. Yeah, nice try. Yeah, nice try, guys. Yeah, and we're like, what? Huh? And that's the circle in which we were in for the majority of 2014. Me and Tina, of being taken seriously and being believed, because we had a lot of walls put in our face of, well, your house is too brand new. Your house is relatively new. There's no house that young can have this amount of activity,
right.
Or no couple can have this amount of activity. I've heard of a couple having one of what you had. Nobody can live with everything you've had. And we were like, well, we don't write script. We don't control what happens. I'm just reporting it. I'm just, 3 Bibles did catch fire in our home. I don't fabricate that. I don't have to lie and say 3. Isn't 1 Bible enough? 3 did. To me, 3 is minuscule. It could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 1, it could be a half. 3 Bibles caught fire. If 4 caught fire, I would tell you 4 caught fire. If 1 caught fire, I would tell you 1 caught fire. It just so happens in the time frame that I'm talking to you, 3 did. You're not supposed to go back into your treasure trove and say, well, a house built in 2005 does not experience 3 Bibles catching fire. That doesn't exist anywhere. So I wasn't understanding the back and forth logically that teams were throwing it our way, and that got us in trouble, and that made us less believe early on. Not now, but early on. But as you know, when you're dealing with an infestation like this, the poltergeist doesn't care. They're glad you're getting roadblocks. They know you're cut off from the rest of the world. They know, hey, 90% of the people you're reaching out to, Keith, are not going to believe you. They're not going to believe you and Tina. Those that do come to your home, most are imitating or mimicking the ghost hunters that they see on TV. So they're ill-equipped. They're not experienced. but they're only there 5, 6, 11 hours, and they're going, you and Tina live here. We are haunting you and Tina. We're not haunting the paranormal investigator. We're not haunting the clergy.
Absolutely.
We're haunting you two. And it took a while for me and Tina to learn that. Unfortunately, by the time you do learn that, it's pretty much too late.
That's fair. I get that. I know because I've dealt with one kind of investigation like that where we had investigators come into our house, and when they were there, nothing happened at all. And it's for that same reason. Like the ghosts aren't there to mess with everybody. They're there for a specific purpose, and it's the same idea here. It sounds like they're not gonna. They're messing with you, not them. So.
Yeah, I mean they're messing with. Now there's a way for you to come in and ascertain the situation and get what you want, or sort of what you want. I'm talking about the researcher, but it doesn't require you putting the house occupants on the defensive. One of the things parapsychologists Steve Murray and Don Phillips were able to be successful in their investigation compared to Ghost Adventures. I don't know if you know, our house was featured on Ghost Adventures.
I did.
Demons in Seattle episode. And that's where a lot of the hell and the slack came from, because a lot of people believe, if Ghost Adventures can't prove a house is haunted, nobody can. If they can't prove it, that means the house is not haunted. The house occupants are faking. That's not true in the slightest regard.
Oh no.
But people believe that now, and then they take it out on the house occupants. Me and Tina, we've been called all kind of things.
No, I'm sure.
Me and Tina, and some of it comes to the tip. I get that. I get a percentage of what you report is going to be ridiculed and mocked at and scorned at, but it should not go beyond that threshold of y'all making this up, y'all attention seeking, and it should not be solely based on what one team did not find. Ghost Adventures, for the record, and I can provide the PDF material to prove it, and it's also in both books, the PDF. They were only in the home 5 hours. 5 hours was the only amount of time they spent in the house. 5 hours.
That's not a long time.
That's zero. That's 0 seconds in a paranormal state point of view. That's nothing. That's nothing. It's taking me. I can get to Portland, Oregon. I live in Seattle in 3 hours. 5 hours is nothing from a paranormal investigative point of view. Dawn Phillips and Steve Murray lived in the house. They lived in the house for 2.5 weeks. They lived in the house. Meaning they slept, woke, brushed their teeth, combed their hair, took a shower, lived and breathed the house for 2.5 weeks. Nikki Novell and her team from the East Coast of the United States lived, investigated the house 3.5 months.
Wow. 8
months they did remotely, 3.5 weeks living in the house physically. Both of those put 5 hours to shame, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's dedication there. And that's honestly, I'm not really big into the TV shows like Ghost Hunters and whatever, because I just feel like it's more of a TV thing rather than the real digging into the paranormal. And so that's why I don't take them all that seriously. And it's, and it's because of reasons like that. I prefer the real dedication, 2 weeks, 3 months kind of thing, rather than just, we need this for TV, if that makes sense.
And you have to approach the subject matter. I'm not a paranormal researcher, so but I know enough. If you're going to approach the subject matter, realistically, you have to understand. You have to put boots on the ground. You have to be there for a considerable amount of time. And if you can't because of constraints, and you got a TV show to do, and you guys are not going to live in our house and hold a production for 3.5 weeks because the money's just not going to be there for it, then that's fine. But at least stay somewhere in your episode. We were only there 5 hours, audience. We're not here to disprove or approve the Keith or whatever, but we were only there 5 hours. Typically, in a poltergeist investigation, you want to be there longer. Unfortunately, we could not. We did, however, maintain communication with Keith throughout the ordeal, and we're still researching it from afar. That's what you should do.
Absolutely. That's the professional.
That, and not say none of that, leaves the impression, hey, we were there. We're not going to disclose how long, but we were there. We found nothing. Next case. See you next week.
No, fair enough.
And your audience like, hey, we got all kind of hate mail. I mean, people want to bleed our tires, bleed our brakes, hang us from a tree, you name it. Tar and feathers. You know, you waste that bagging time. How dare y'all do that? We're the bad guy now, not the poacher guy. We're the bad guy.
The fans of that show reacted that way towards you guys because they didn't have Ghost on that episode?
Yeah, I mean,
that's unreal.
A huge percentage of the paranormal community, a lot of people who are helping us from afar, I'm talking about organizations, folded up tent and stopped helping us. Social blogosphere beat us up pretty bad. Dave Schrader beat us pretty bad. And for nothing. It was really a weird experience in the sense of my job as a person who lived this is just to tell you what happened.
Right.
I would be there. Me and Tina took off work. We made ourselves accessible. We're home. Ask us anything, everything, whatever. You need a call, you need a key to this, you need that, you need to go to the attic, here's the attic. If you go to the basement, go to the basement. We're out of your way. I'm sitting over here, I'm out of you guys' way. I'm here to answer questions. I'm not putting up roadblocks for you guys. This house is yours for however long you want it. That's what we were clear on, we thought we were clear on prior to them arriving. What ends up on the tube is totally different, but once again, no help during, before, or after, and no disclaimer, because people afterwards, and some of these people would like to be guests themselves on the Ghost Division. Some of them would like to partner up or be a colleague, so they're not going to, help me and Tina out, if you will. If Ghost Adventures didn't find anything, it must not be nothing to find. That's totally false, as you seen by the report in the documentary. And people can watch. I hope they watch. If you watch the Demons in Seattle episode by Ghost Adventures, then you deserve to watch the Demons in Seattle Uncovered documentary by Steve and Don Phillips, and make a decision after watching both. 2.5 weeks versus 5 hours. Parapsychology versus ghost hunting. Similar equipment used, almost identical equipment being used. However, the methodology, the application of the equipment is different. If you're an enthusiastic ghost investigator and you're really sincere, enthusiastic about the phenomenon, you're trying to better yourself for any region or neighborhood or city or state that you represent, then you want to get the best methodology down, not the mimic methodology. And if you see what works in our investigation, maybe apply that, maybe do some more research, maybe realize, hey, I've been led down the wrong path. But definitely keep an open mind and then make a decision. And I let the documentary Steve and Dawn did, and it's free on YouTube. Demons in Seattle Uncovered is free on YouTube. So this is not me selling you something. This is a free 1.5 hour documentary at 1080p that you can watch on any device with Wi-Fi, and then see, aha, okay, all right, okay, because it makes sense. Steve and Dawn captured over 434 EVPs at the house in Bothell. Over 400 EVPs. A high percentage of them were called Class A, Class B.
I mean, that's a ton.
And these are sentences, enunciations, speeches, intelligence that speaks to the volume of phenomena me and Tina were experiencing. These voices are articulate. They talk like you and me. They carry on conversations. They have a key interest in the equipment in the home. They're conversating about the equipment, the cameras, the wires, and all of this, and they're giving you commentary. And it's on multiple devices to where Steve and Dawn are just mind-boggled. It mind-boggles the researcher, I said, to even capture this much. Anything below a Class B EVP, they discarded. A lot of TV shows show you any EVP. They discarded. They're like, it's not even a Class B or a Class A. We don't even keep those keys. Not saying that they're not EVPs, but we don't go down that tree or down that avenue. We have enough to focus on with the Class A and the Class B. Why debate the Class C and Class D EVP, where you're going to have a higher percentage of believability if you focus on the Class A and the Class B?
That makes perfect sense. And I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, that's what I respect the most when it comes into paranormal, because you do have a lot of people who don't believe it or will try to dispute it no matter what. So it makes sense to really only show the big stuff and the disputable stuff push aside. Absolutely.
Yeah, because the skeptic's going to go after the low-hanging fruit of the ahs, the oohs, and the faint stuff like, dude, that's ambient noise. I can't really hear it. And so don't even give them that string. Don't even give them that rope to hang you.
Yep.
Give them something that's clear and concise, that's intelligent, and have them answer the question. And watch them backpedal a little bit. You know, what's interesting about my case is I had 2 books out, and I put all the evidence in both books. I was able to compile some of the evidence of my own after watching Steve and Dawn and learn how to do it the right way without triggering the activity around me. And I just put it out there. I put the phantom heartbeats on my YouTube channel. You can listen to the heartbeats that I was hearing at the pillow, at the headboard, at the mattress of my bed. And you can ascertain yourself, is that a heartbeat or not? You know, if you're in the medical field, you're going to really be able to debunk that relatively quickly. 0 people have debunked either one of my heartbeat videos on my YouTube channel. And they've been on my YouTube channel for 4 years. Nobody's debunked. Because I filter them through the medical field that I know. I have friends and doctors and whatnot who are open heart surgery nurses, ENT specialists who do this by day, RN nurses and whatnot. And I run it by them. Nothing I'm going to put on my channel has not been vetted. And it has been unanimous vetting, it has been unanimous decision, no ambiguity. And the specialists that I've talked to who will call the shots as it is tell me that's a genuine heartbeat, not human. There's some algorithm, there's some abnormalities in there, anomalies in there that I've never seen in the medical field before. But I'd be damn, Keith, that's a heartbeat. Where'd you get that from? What human being gave you that? I'm like, no human being gave me that. That's coming out of my bed. And then mouth just in the conversation because they're like, yeah, that's unheard of. That's a heartbeat. You got that where? My bed. Yeah. So
I should imagine their face.
All that stuff. What did you use? I used your equipment. I didn't use ghost equipment. I used digital stethoscopes. I used echo, digital, sound sensitive, amplify sound 100 times stethoscopes. I used Think One Lab stethoscope. Talking about $800, $500 stethoscopes digitally that takes the sound and it's crystal clear and you can hear it. And these are heartbeats. I could hear with my naked ear. You could too if you put your ear against my headboard. I don't advise that, but you can hear it too. I use the digital stethoscope because I want to record the sound. I record the sound. I don't edit it. I don't filter it. I just upload it. And not one person has said, aha, I got you, Keith. I got you. Yeah, I got it. No, because they're not. They're not. They're just not. And I don't throw up stuff that you have to search long and hard to make a decision on. So, I think that in itself speaks to the gravity of what me and Tina experienced and witnessed, and our friends. Our friends, multiple of them, have witnessed things. I mean, they have their own stories to tell. They didn't witness the drastic things, but they witnessed stuff. And they would tell you, like I'm telling you, yeah, Keith's house is weird. Keith's house is weird. I go to Keith's house and I lose my driver's license. I lose my passport. My car battery died. If I make fun of the situation or the ghost or say, Casper, can you come out? My keys are missing. I hate going to Keith's house. Some don't even go to Keith's house anymore. They'll tell you they're assessment.
I mean, that's
but
fair.
They'll tell you also that Keith and Tina are not liars. I mean, if they told you an armoire flew across the room, then an armoire flew across the room.
Right. I think if I was in your shoes, obviously I want my friends to get terrorized by a ghost in my house, but I'd be happy that they're seeing it just to validate my story, you know?
Yeah, every validation helps. There's no such thing as too much validation, and it helps with your psyche to know, because I was like, wow, these spirits are bold. They're not shy. They're doing stuff in front of my friends. Right. And they're not shy. I mean, Steve and Dawn saw an object go through another object. They saw a ball go through a table. And Steve is not trying to piggyback on what I've seen. What I've seen and what he's seen are 3 years apart. He saw that while he was there. Now, he's not going to invent things, but they saw it. And he has his own book. He has his book called Fire and Whispers that he co-wrote with Jenny Ashford. And he talks you through everything that they saw and experienced, but he gives you the investigator's point of view, and he'll tell you, yeah, in a nutshell, Keith's house is weird. From a scientific paranormal perspective, it's a typical, it's an out-of-the-world, out-of-the-ordinary poltergeist infestation that he himself has never seen the likes of. Because, and this is Steve, that's his assessment.
Right.
He says this early on, had we came there and got nothing, we would have said we got nothing. But we got stuff. Did we see Bibles burning? Of course not. No investigator would in their right mind would go with that expectation.
Oh, no.
You don't go there with the expectation, ooh, show me the fire, show me the... No, you don't live in the house. You're not part of the world that these couples live in. You're a visitor. You're a researcher, okay? But you can get phenomena, and it adds weight to what they're saying, you know? But no, Ghost Adventures came in wanting to see Bibles burning and all the wall writings and all that. You're not going to see that.
Yeah,
we didn't. We responded to it. You know, there was never an instance where I'm sitting in my office on the computer and the poltergeist is writing stuff on my wall. No, he's writing stuff on my wall when I'm not in the room. I come back and my room is plastered with wall writing. Okay? Now, we can have a conversation of how that got there and how the spirit was able to do that in a short period of time, or the substance that was used to do that. That's a conversation worth having. But to come into a house and say, I want to see the Bible catch fire. We didn't see the Bible catch fire. We opened up the door and the Bible's already burning. The Spirit put that Bible there. We were sound asleep. Now, there's a debate. Was it instantly? Was it resting there a while? Had it been there an hour? How long was the Bible there before it caught fire? We can have that discussion, how long we think the Bible was there. What did it use to cause the fire? There's no residue. There's no accelerant, nothing whatsoever. And if you think there was, there's the Bible over there in the corner. Go have it tested. Go pull the chemicals off the Bible and have it tested. No skeptic has ever called me and said, Keith, I would like to have your Bibles because I want to see if you put gasoline or lighter fluid on there. Because I would give it to them. I was like, hey, test it. But they don't want to test it because they don't want to deal with the repercussions if they come back with, well, all that we found in your Bible were the natural ingredients of books. I mean, that's all that we found on your Bible. We didn't find anything foreign that would not be on a Bible. So where does that leave us? So they're not going to do that. But it's just interesting the overall response early on to the Bothell house.
Right. I mean, it makes sense too. You know, there's the whole phrase of ignorance is bliss. I mean, a lot of people live that way, and like you mentioned, it's a lot easier just to believe you're lying rather than test it and prove that you're not. So, I mean...
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's easy to believe you're lying without going that extra mile of saying, prove, you're lying. I could prove it. But had it been just low-hanging fruit of, shenanigans or whatnot, they would. But we, myself, others, myself especially, have given them no rope to hang us on because they can't. I mean, you can always, y'all did, but that's not really, I mean, of course you're going to say that, but that's not really scientific. Of course you can say that. I can say that. Right. But you're just saying that, nothing to base it on. But the overall grand scheme of things is the information is accessible. It's highly available. It's unedited, it's untouched. The door with the 666 wall writings, I'm talking about the door they got written 666 with the wall writings on it.
Yes, sir, in your office.
I still have that door. That door is still in storage.
Oh, wow.
That door is not gone. I didn't throw it away. It's still available. I mean, I pay $55 a month for the last 4 years up to have it stored. I haven't looked at it in 4 years, but it's still there.
No, that's fair.
The ball substance can still be analyzed. Somebody can still chisel out a piece and put it under a microscope. I can tell you now, I did. What we found and I found is on YouTube. We know what the stuff is made out of. Interesting. You can't find it in your normal paint store. You can't find it in any paint store, for that matter. But somebody's more than eager to contradict me, and all you have to do is contact me and say, I would like a portion. Now, I'm not going to give it to any Tom, Sandy, or James. You got to be a bona fide, legitimate organization to be able to tell me you have the true intentions and, of seeing the analysis, like a paranormal organization.
Makes sense.
I don't want any fan or anybody sitting in the basement of their mom's house emailing me saying, I want a piece of the door. No, I'm not going to give it to you that way.
That makes sense. That's probably the safe bet. So since you left that house, have you had any kind of paranormal experiences at all, or is it all just in the Bothell house?
I moved out of the Bothell house May 2016. It did take a toll on me and Tina's relationship. She moved out a year before, fortunately. I moved into my second place of residence May of 2016. The activity had died significantly way before I moved, so you're not having the things we talked about happen even before I was moving. But the only thing that was worth interesting and worth noting that gave rise to book 2, or the beginning of book 2, was the water puddle phenomena of water dripping from a dry ceiling onto my kitchen table.
Oh, wow.
That was witnessed by the apartment manager, maintenance department, 2 guys who responded to the leaking water upon entry into my place of establishment, saw the water for themselves leaking from an area that had no pumps, no plumbing. We know, like I said, if anybody who does research on poltergeist activity knows, a report of strange water appearances is not uncommon. Matter of fact, it's one of the top 5 things to be reported is these water puddles appear. What makes these water puddles interesting is the surface that they're coming from is dry. What makes it interesting is it seems to begin abruptly and end abruptly. And by ending abruptly, I mean just outright disappear, which mine did. And the water itself, mine, it was considerable, but it was not a lot. Just the manner in which it travels onto a surface or appears on a surface afterwards, uncharacteristic of water. So yeah, that was the one living elsewhere in my new place, but I've since moved from there because that was 4 years ago. Nothing physical has transpired. No moving of objects. Knock on wood, and I'm praying that never happens again.
Yep, absolutely.
But every now and then, occasionally, an electronic issue, the poking and the prodding while sleeping, sheet tugging, if you will, things like that. That's probably the only thing I would say I'm dealing with now is the poking and the prodding. Going back to the heartbeats, I can pull my digital stethoscopes out of their boxes and hook them up to my bed now and get the phantom heartbeats. They're the same. Some days are better than others or worse than others. So that in itself. But what would I rather have, this, what I'm experiencing now, or what I experienced in the Bothell house? Oh, this.
I believe that.
Yeah. Can you imagine being sheltered in place in a poltergeist house?
Yeah, that would not be fun. So,
it's like, oh man, please.
That's crazy.
If COVID-19 was around when the Bothell house was, oh man, that would be a decision.
I could believe that, and I listened to their podcast too, and they were talking about that. They really believe that, like, after this is all over, just the stories that are going to come out of people who actually live in like haunted houses or poltergeist houses, just like the crazy stories we're going to hear after it's all said and done. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
That's crazy.
People are gonna be. What poltergeists do feed on is they feed on fear. They feed on frustration. They feed on uncertainty, angst. And if people get frustrated and tired, they feed on financial constraints, meaning that if you're dealing with financial issues, health issues, and whatnot, bills being paid and whatnot, a poltergeist is an opportunist. They're like any other predator in the existence kingdom. They're an opportunist, and they go after low-hanging fruit. They go after the lazy gazelle, the decrepit zebra. They look for anything that they can get there, and if they're wandering through a neighborhood and they see a house worthy of them or a house that's a challenge, they're going to leap on it. So I know the Catholic Church, the one I was contacting when me and Tina lived in the Bothell house, contacted me March 27th because the lady still had my phone number, and she was talking about a family in Bellingham. We're having similar activities. This is March 27th of this year. And she said, hey, we're at our wits' end, me and the Catholic Church here, but we got this guy and his family. And a lot of the things they're reporting reminded us of your house. And, and I talked to that family, and a lot of what they are going through does remind me of our house. And that's only 2 hours up the street. So I know this phenomena, and worse and less,
I'm sure,
or happening the world over.
That's
The poltergeist is not going to stop because the world is what we're dealing with now. But they are opportunists, and they will seek out new opportunities. So yeah, there'll be a lot of stories emerge for years to come.
Absolutely.
Years to come.
Well, sir, I really appreciate you being on the show. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I know you have 2 books out. Go ahead, and they're both available on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, the Bothell House, book 1's on Amazon on Kindle and paperback version. Attachments, Poltergeist of Washington State Part 2 is on Amazon. Same thing, paperback and Kindle. What your listeners should know is everything we talked about and more, especially the evidence, is in both books. There are links. I mean, there are hours of hours. Don't think you're just reading a book. You're reading a book with no less than 5 documentaries per book, with links to free documentaries. Some are an hour and a half, some are 4 hours. Hundreds of EVPs, hundreds of EMF, hundreds of interviews from witness and the researchers themselves. It's an interactive book. It's interactive on purpose. You're going to hear the loud bangs. You're going to hear the grunts, the growls, the tapping, the heartbeats. I tell you, tread carefully, but be ready. I put it there at the reader's fingertips because I want you to understand it's not necessarily what you see on TV. It's worse, and it's more wholesome that you were led to believe. The 60-plus page report of what they found, the narrative documentary, all that's in both books. And you can take your time, read through both books. And my email, I love questions. Email me during, before, after, during, and ask me any question. I love answering questions. I want to bust up and destroy misconceptions about anything, especially about my house. But about anything paranormal, I would do my role to try to clear up. And if you have a story to tell me about your experience, I would love that. And, of course, ask me any question you want to.
That's excellent. And what's your email address?
Macudor at Gmail, MACQDOR2 at gmail.com. Macudor2 at gmail.com.
Right, excellent. So I'm sure I will tell you what, I'm definitely going to watch that documentary and obviously read your book and check out demonsinseattle.com myself. So I probably will be in contact with you via Twitter as I do that. Just a heads up.
Hey, that's fine. That's good. That works.
All right, cool. I hope you had a good time, sir. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I thank you so much for your time, and I thank you for being on the show. And you take care.
Hey, man, thank you. Take care. Be good out there.
Thank you. You too. Oh man, that was a crazy story. And it's probably going to be one that I'm going to be thinking about. It's probably going to be one that's going to keep me up at night sometimes, or wake me up, and I can't go back to sleep because I'm thinking about it. And that's okay. Like as I was sitting there listening to Keith, I mean, I was just grateful that this is what I wanted to do when I made this show. Was hear from everybody around the world basically, and hear all of these different stories, and that is definitely a good one. One thing I really want to point out, I mentioned it during the interview, was like, a lot of these TV shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventurers, whatever, I never really got into them, and I've always been interested in paranormal, but not really those shows, because you don't see it in those shows. I'm not going to say they're fake, but obviously they're there to make a TV show. And I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and I think sometimes being there for the TV part of it hurts the quality of the show. Same idea when it comes to those ghost shows. So it's really cool that he had other investigators come in and really, dig deep into that. I mean, that's no joke. One of the things that we mentioned a lot during that interview was the word poltergeist. And I didn't really know the difference between poltergeist and ghost. I always thought a poltergeist was more of like a demon or not a human entity, if that makes sense. But according to the Google, apparently a poltergeist is just a spirit or ghost that is able to move objects and presents himself by moving objects and that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if that's the real definition or if other investigators or people in that world agree with me, but that's what I read. So I don't know. I'm still learning like everybody else. But I really hope you enjoyed that episode and that whole interview. I thought it was pretty incredible. Be sure, again, I know I mentioned it a few times now, but check out demonsinseattle.com. There's plenty of different links to click within that website that has all kinds of EVPs and evidence of his experiences in the Bothell house. Check out his documentary on YouTube. I think his YouTube page is Keith L. You can find him on YouTube there. And also check out his books. I know they're available on Amazon and Kindle. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed it. Find me on Twitter at Paranormal Axetvities. You can find me on Facebook at Paranormal Activities. Continue to listen to me on your favorite podcasting platforms. We're available on Apple, Google, Stitcher, basically wherever you get your podcasts. We're on most of them. Still working on Pandora. We'll get there one day. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. No paranormal activity this week, as we pretty much focused all on Mr. Keith Linder. And again, Keith, I really appreciate you being on the show. And everybody else, let's just keep learning together.